I remembered him from Saved by the Bell. That was when I saw that credit. I was like, okay, I remember him as being one of the teachers on there
Oh,
because he
yes.
basically
Yeah, you're
plays
right.
the same character. He's just like, oh, great.
Gentlemen, synchronize swatches. Not a problem.
But anyway, so Parker, he tells Coob, look, like, yeah, you need me. Yeah, I need to coach you. We're going to get you straight. And because he's like, says something like, shouldn't your parents be involved in such an enormous decision like this? And we have our first cutaway to Larry's parents.
Barry plays football?
It's Larry, dear.
Okay, maybe not.
And his dad, who's played by Patrick O'Brien, which he's one of those guys, I've seen him in everything.
Yeah.
I would never know his name.
Yeah.
He's like in single episodes of every freaking TV show you can imagine.
Yeah.
His top billings were like Curious Case of Benjamin Button, which believe it or not, I've never seen. And UHF, which I haven't seen probably since the 90s. So, so I didn't really know his credits, but I mean, he's in so many shows and like, he's just got that distinct look. Cause I feel like the way he looks in this cutaway, he looks like in every TV show you ever seen him in.
There's one thing from him, like after I looked at his credits where I was like, that's what I know him from. Was there anything like that leaped out to you? Like was he just like the guy that you've seen in a million things?
He's the guy you've seen in a million things. Like he's in a Seinfeld. He's in a, I mean, just like every freaking sitcom in the 90s,
Yeah. I remembered him from Saved by the Bell. That was when I saw that credit. I was like, okay, I remember him as being one of the teachers on there.
Oh, yes.
He basically plays
you're right.
the same character. He's just like, oh, great.
Now that you mention it, that's maybe why he looks so familiar in that same look. With those glasses and everything.
Probably
that's a good call.
To the show, but
that's a good call.
Let me just point out the woman who plays his mom, because there's no picture of her on IMDb, which I thought was weird because she's similar in my mind to Patrick O'Brien insofar as like she looks familiar to me, probably because I've seen her in a bunch of stuff. Her name is Melanie McQueen. So I went down her IMDb list and I actually wrote down a number of things because she has a hell of a credit list. It is enormous. But one of the most noteworthy things to me is the fact that she also appeared in an episode of Ferris Bueller. So I've got a little Parker Lewis, Ferris Bueller crossoper.
Actually, there's another one. I forgot about this. I didn't put it in the notes. The director, Andy, what's the director's name? I'll have to find it. But the director actually directed 2 episodes of the Ferris Bueller show as well.
Wow. Because there's only, like 8 episodes of that show? Yeah. It wasn't on very long.
Yeah. What was it, Andy Tankerman or something like that?
Well, I'll just go through the other stuff on her credits list. Because what was interesting to me is like, so she was in the movie Doc Hollywood where she played a character named Woman with Spider. And then she was in an episode of Herman's Head.
Oh, Herman's Head.
Yeah, she was credited as Boring Woman. Like she had more than a couple of credits on her list that were where she was just called Woman, woman,
just woman.
She was also in Night Court, The Wonder Years, L.A. Law, Big Love. I don't know if you ever watched that. That was on HBO back in the 2000s.
I know of it. I never actually saw it. Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't bad. But she was in True Blood. She was in Parks and Rec. But the most interesting thing to me is she has a huge catalog of voice work on the Robotech series. Is like all the way back to like the 80s. Like if you look at it, she plays like this. She's credited as Eileen Leslie, I guess. But she does a lot of anime voiceover, which I just thought was interesting. It's, she doesn't speak much on here, so you don't get an idea very much of what her voice sounds like. But it was interesting to me to go back and look and see such a long credit history in anime and in Robotech specifically. But, wow. I wasn't expecting there to be a whole lot there, because somebody doesn't have a headshot on there. It's kind of like, oh well, they were probably in 2 episodes of something, but she's got a hell of a credit list.
Yeah, interesting. So Andy Tennant. Okay. Yeah, that's the director's name. So he did 1 episode of Ferris Bueller. Mm-hmm. 4 episodes of Parker Lewis. But yeah, it's just interesting that he as well, the director, had something to do with the Ferris Bueller show. Yeah. Which of course, like I say, this is kind of, Parker's always looked at as like the the Ferris Bueller knockoff. But it outlasted the official Ferris Bueller show.
Yeah.
By a lot.
By years, yeah.
And the only standout of the Ferris Bueller show was that was one of Jennifer Aniston's first
really?
gigs. Yeah.
Interesting.
She plays Ferris's sister. Oh, anyway, so back to our cutaway with Patrick O'Brien and with Coop's parents.
Melanie McQueen.
His dad calls him Barry, and he was not aware that he played football. So, of course, Larry's mother corrects him. It's Larry, dear. This is the first of 3 cutaways we'll get.
No mention of Bobby.
Yeah, it's true. That is true. There's no mention of Bobby. Where's Bobby?
I feel like Bobby's probably gone now.
Yes.
He went upstairs and we'll never see him again.
Yeah. Served his purpose. He's gone.
My friend Jerry said you guys were going to do something really neat today.